Hello everyone, I welcome you all on my channel. And now we have come up with more material science questions which were asked in mechanical engineering. So I am covering only material science questions and those were asked in GATE 2020. So let us see the first question. Two plates, each of 6 mm thickness, are to be butt welded. Consider the following processes and select the correct sequence in increasing order of the heat effector zone. Right? So whenever we do welding of two plates, suppose these are the two plates, plate number 1 and plate number 2, and this is the groove, the welding groove, this is called as, right? This is made so that the filler can be filled easily. Filler can be filled and it will reduce the distortion basically. So what happens whenever we do butt welding, we make something like this. The groove is made double V. This is called a double V groove because in top side it is V, lower side also it is V. So it is asking about the heat effector zone, right? So we know this is the portion of heat effector zone. So heat effector zone will be higher if the heat distribution is higher, right? Means the heat is distributed over a larger area, then the heat affected zone will be higher. Okay, so you see different welding processes. The first is the arc welding. There is confusion regarding this arc welding because MIG welding and submerged arc welding both come under arc welding. So if you study arc welding, then in arc welding there are different types of welding basically. So why it has written just simply arc welding, I don't know. So I will not consider this option because it is creating some kind of confusion. Okay, so now let us see these three: MIG welding, then laser beam welding, then submerged arc welding, right? So for which kind of welding the heat distribution will be lowest? We know that laser beam welding and electron beam welding, the energy is concentrated because in the case of laser we pass a laser through a very narrow region. In the electron beam welding also we focus on a particular point. So what happens, the energy is distributed over a very thin area. That's why the power density is very high, means energy divided by area, right? So that's why the power density of this welding technique is high, but the energy distribution is low. That's why these laser beam welding will have the lowest heat effect. So first will be the 3, right? So 3 we have, let me write laser, right? Then MIG welding and submerged arc welding. So among these two, which one has the lower energy distribution? So if you study, then you will find that MIG welding has got the lower energy distribution, because in the case of MIG we do welding using the electrode and we put gas over there, right? Suppose we are doing the welding and we are passing gas over there. But in the case of submerged arc welding, we are doing welding and we are putting flux, because the arc is submerged, means it is beneath this flux. Okay, so here more energy is required so that the flux is also going to be melt and it is going to provide protection. So that's why MIG welding will come second and the last one will be submerged arc welding. And for the simple arc welding, I can't put in any series, but let us see, because this sequence we have got in 3 to 4 over here. So option D. So option D may be the correct answer, because I really there is confusion regarding just arc welding. Okay, so now let us move to next question. Which one of the following statement about a phase diagram is incorrect? So which one is the incorrect statement regarding phase diagram? Suppose we make a phase diagram to understand. Suppose we make isomorphous phase diagram. Right? Suppose PBSN. Right? So this is PB, 100% PB, and this is 100% SN. So MP, melting point of SN, and this will be melting point of PB, and this will give different composition and phases: solid, solid plus liquid, and liquid, right? So it indicates the temperature at which different phases start to melt. So right, so here solid is melting after this temperature. Suppose we take in the case of this alloy, right? So it is clearly showing, it shows, right? Relative amount of different phases can be found under a given equilibrium condition. Yes, we use the tie line method basically for this alloy. If you want to calculate, like here is the solid, and solid plus liquid it will be, then this length of tie line divided by complete length will give the percentage of phases, the relative phases, right? So it also gives, that means option B is also a correct statement. It gives information on transformation rates. So phase diagram does not give any information on transformation rates. There is nothing called as time over here. So there is no axis related to time, so that will not give any kind of transformation rate. Okay, so this will be the incorrect. Let us say option D, solid solubility limits are defected by it. Yes, solid solubility limit is also defected. Like suppose this is a case of normal solid plus liquid, but if you say in the case of iron carbon, then it gives the maximum solubility of carbon along this line. So, okay. So carbon, it is dissolved, or it gives the solid solubility limit, you can say. Similarly, you can find in copper, aluminum copper phase diagram. So it is also similar, something like this. So this gives the maximum solid solubility of copper in air, right? So it is also a correct statement. So option C will only be the incorrect statement. Now let us move. A mold cavity of 1200 cm cube volume has to be filled through a sprue of 10 cm length feeding a horizontal runner. Okay. Cross-sectional area at the base of the sprue is 2 cm square. Consider acceleration due to gravity as 9.81 meter per second square, neglecting frictional losses due to molten melted flow. The time taken to fill the mold cavity is in second, right? So we need to calculate. Suppose this is the mold. I'm considering a simple structure of mold, and this is runner, right? And suppose this is the sprue, and the height of this sprue is 10 cm, and the bottom area is 2 cm square, right? And the complete volume is 1200 cm cube. Okay, so now for this we need to find the time for which this volume is getting occupied through this liquid which is flowing through the sprue, right? So what is the volume flow rate? If we calculate the volume flow rate, then we can easily calculate that time, right? So first we will see what is the velocity at which this liquid is flowing at this point. So this will be governed due to the acceleration due to gravity. There will be some velocity. So V will be nothing but root under 2GH. So let us write root under 2 into G. G 9.81. It is given in meter per second square. So let us convert into cm per centimeter square, right? Into H. H is how much? 10. So this volume will be in centimeter cube, right? Sorry, this is velocity, that is centimeter per second. Now volume flow rate, that is Q, is equal to A1 into V1, means area into velocity. Area it is given 2 centimeter square into this, let us multiply this one. Okay, so this is the volume flow. Means for 1 second of time, this amount of volume it is getting filled. So what is the time? So it will be total volume divided by volume flow rate. Simple. The total volume we have 1200 divided by 2 into root under 2 into 9.81 into 1000. So if you calculate this one, let me do the calculation over here. 2 into root under 2 into 9.81. Yeah, so it is 4.283 second. So we can write it as 4.28 rounded up to 2 decimal places. So we can write 4.28 second. So this is the answer. Okay guys, so thank you. I think it will help in